Ravens and the Chiefs, 1-2, both of these teams going into it. We knew one of them was going to be 1-3 because I wasn't about to manifest a tie between these two teams.
You didn't want
we weren't going to
40-40 in this one also?
No, I would have protested the result.
Oh, wow.
Chiefs end up winning this one in Arrowhead, 37-20. Top 5 graded players that we have for the Kansas City Chiefs. Linebacker Leo Chenal with a 90.1 at the top of the list. Center Creed Humphrey an 83.7. Safety Jaden Hicks an 82.5. Wide receiver Xavier Worthy an 81.0. Edge rusher George Karlaftis a 75.5. And then quarterback Patrick Mahomes with a 71.6. On Baltimore's side of things, all due respect, Justice Hill being the guy at the very top, probably not what you want. 83.0. Offensive guard Andrew Voorhees right behind him with a 75.5. Offensive tackle Roger Rosengarten with a 74.8. Wide receiver Zay Flowers a 78. And then safety Kyle Hamilton with a 70.4. Lamar Jackson in this one a 45.8. And as you know, we started kind of, I want to hear your stat that told the story in this game, but injuries just so bad for the Ravens right now. Nnamdi Madubuike is out for the year. Roquan Smith out for a couple of weeks with a hamstring injury. Lamar in doubt for this week. Marlon Humphrey out for multiple weeks. I mean, they are just absolutely going through it. And so this is a team that is now 1-3. And you know how we talk about some teams like, oh, you know, the cavalry's coming. They're going to get a little bit more healthy. It's okay. They're 1-3, and it's looking worse as the weeks go on. This team's getting more beat up, and it's just. Stat that told the story in this one, maybe beyond the injuries, sort of what we have moving forward for either of these teams?
Let's go with the Chiefs first.
Okay, we'll talk about the Chiefs.
This was the first game of the year where it looks like, okay, that's the Kansas City Chiefs, right? Even against the Giants, kind of ugly. This was the Kansas City Chiefs. I agree. I think it's no coincidence that Xavier Worthy gets back to give some level of speed to this offense, and they look like they have the best offensive day of the year. Worthy, my most impressive guy, I think most impressive / most important, 78.5 receiving grade, 83 yards, had the big end around too for an explosive run. But the stat that sums up this game is, aside from the Gardner Minshew kneel downs at the end, Kansas City got into Baltimore territory on every single drive. That you do that, and you're probably going to win ball games unless you go 0 for 6 in the red zone, which can happen. But Mahomes with a season-high passing grade, big number. Kansas City on designed runs. I know rushing yards are weird and rushing grades are weird with this team because Mahomes in the scrambling. 112 designed rushing yards, season-high for this team. Whether it's Pacheco or Kareem Hunt or Brashard Smith, any level of balance is great. Xavier Worthy coming back as the speed element is great. Stay healthy this time. Gets a little bit better now that you've got some vertical threats. You get Rashee Rice back in week 7, then it'll start to look a little better than that. This is when you start, if you're the Chiefs and you're watching this team, you go, okay, now you start stacking good performances. They look like this on offense again next week. Now we go, okay, they're back. They're fully back now. The Chiefs offense, for the first time this season, looked the way it was supposed to.
No, I agree with you completely. My stat that told the story is just the fact that the Chiefs punted once in this game, and it wasn't until late in the fourth quarter when it really didn't matter anymore. They started this game field goal, touchdown. They had a missed field goal, and then they start the second half, touchdown, field goal, touchdown. They punt, and then the game is over after that. And so they were just clicking on all cylinders. And you could see what the vision for this team was with Xavier Worthy out there. You really could. Just how they wanted to emphasize that speed, how Xavier Worthy, whether he was getting the ball or not, was getting other players open. Travis Kelce getting catches, Juju Smith-Schuster getting catches. Like that is what they wanted to do. And when they lost him at the beginning of the season, I mean, that is one of those players that they have a trait on offense that you cannot replicate. And we knew that was going to be the case, and we just wondered what it was going to look like when he got back. It looked fantastic for this team. And so obviously Rashee Rice is going to come back as well. And so we'll get a real look at what the Chiefs, the real Kansas City Chiefs is, because I don't feel like we've seen that yet. I really don't feel like we've seen what the real Kansas City Chiefs are going to be this season. My most impressive, the Leo Chenal interception was nuts. So Leo Chenal, obviously, he is a heavier linebacker for them. He's kind of like a throwback Sam linebacker, which we don't really see a lot anymore because nickel is the new base, as they say. Even when you have 3 linebackers on the field, they kind of got to be able to cover whatever. But Chenal is this linebacker who they will line him up against centers. Like, they will line him up almost like as a stand-up nose tackle, it feels like sometimes, because he is strong as an ox. He can play on the line of scrimmage so well. So on this play, he was close to the line of scrimmage and he was matched up against Mark Andrews. the ball is snapped, and Leo Chanel just gives Mark Andrews a shove, and Andrews like stumbles back a step, and he's like, okay, I wasn't expecting that. He gets him off his route enough where he's able to actually stay hip for hip with him all the way up the wheel route and the sideline. And I'm going to be honest. If Leo Chanel's in coverage against Mark Andrews,
feel good about that.
You feel I do not blame Lamar for letting the ball go. Of course you let the ball go. And it was just an incredible job for him to stay step for step with him, turn around, grab the interception. That was truly just the most impressive thing that I saw in this game. And then to me, the most disappointing is I put down here the Derrick Henry script, because if the problem with the way that the Ravens are playing right now isn't just that they're not playing well. It's that they're not defending the run really well. So they're losing the time of possession battles against teams, and they're getting behind on the scoreboard. So teams are sort of having a double negative against the Ravens, where you're controlling the ball against them, so you're salting the game away. You're making so there's less possessions. You're getting up on the scoreboard, and both of those things heavily weigh against the Ravens being able to lean into Derrick Henry the way that they need to, especially with all the injuries that they have on their team. So it's tough to look at this situation for the Ravens, and not only from a health perspective, but also just a game script perspective of like, dude, this Ravens team's about to turn into like some of the Titans teams of the past, where they go, all right, we'll just hand Henry the ball off 30 times and hope it wins us the game.
Well, if Lamar Jackson's out, yeah, you're going to have to.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, with Lamar, that's sort of what I was saying, is like, if Lamar's hurt, we might get to a point this year where that's just all the Ravens have, and they're just going to give them 30 carries a game. It doesn't really matter whether they're up, whether they're down, no matter what the score is. So this season, and just the scripts that they have had in games have weighed heavily against what the Ravens actually want to do. And I think it starts with the fact that they can't defend the run. And unfortunately, with no Roquan Smith, with no Nnamdi Madubuike, it doesn't look like they're going to get better at doing that.
No, I mean, you talk about the last 2 weeks, they have a 38.4 defensive grade. Not great. I mean, we saw the Lions run, and even the Chiefs in this game set a season high with design rushing yards. This is a real issue, and Roquan's the leader of that defense. Madubuike's a leader on that defense. No, we thought this would be the team that would be more likely to dig out of this hole, but these injuries now are a serious
when
problem.
You're this unlucky,
and even if Lamar's not playing this week, I understand having to ride Derrick Henry. I'd probably ride the run game. They're playing the Houston Texans this week, right? I would ride the run game against the Houston Texans, but if Cooper Rush is playing against that pass defense, boy, you're looking pretty one-dimensional. And then you're 1-4. And then you play, I think there was another good team, and then you play the LA Rams. Not great. I mean, it stacks when you lose these early games, and games that, the Bills game, they should have won, obviously, right? They blew it in the last 4 minutes. The Lions game, defense got away from. This game, defense getting away from. It's not great. And even offensively, again, I know on the scoreboard they put up a lot of points. They didn't play a great offensive game against the Browns either. They didn't. The points say so, but you dig in and you watch and you go, they were grinding and the defense got turnovers. It's not firing on very many cylinders right now in Baltimore. And I think against the Texans this week, they're in almost a must-win situation.
Right. It gets in trouble if you lose this game coming up. Anything else?
Just footnote, Lamar Jackson with his lowest passing grade since week 13 of 2021.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I believe it,
We don't see. And I meant to bring up the Chanel interception as well. I was glad you brought that up. That felt like just this big emotional shift in, because remember, the Ravens scored on the first drive.
Right.
And we were like,
it's not like they got blown out of that game.
We were like, oh boy, the Chiefs are in trouble.
Right.
And then they were driving down the second drive to score again. And then Chanel makes that play, and it just felt like, there's momentum shifts, and then there's just it felt like Leo Chanel just took the momentum away in this game.
Yeah.
And never let go of it.
Yeah.
It's almost single-handedly. Just unbelievable play, and it did. It turned this whole game upside down.